Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility, here to announce the passing of another great one. One of the most noteworthy drummers of the British jazz fusion Canterbury rock scene in the 70s, been playing up until recently. John Marshall, of course, of Soft Machine and lots of other things. Passed away on September 16th, 2023 at age 82. Born August 28th, 1941. Has played with so many artists and bands throughout his time with us. Contributions to music are just absolutely immense. I'll name a bunch of them towards the end of this little video, but more importantly, I want to kind of talk about the main band that he was with from an album called The Fifth, right, which came out in 1972, the Soft Machine. He joined them for their fifth album, which is this one right here with the number 5. And he actually, John brought his excellent kind of jazz drumming skills to a band that was moving into kind of like avant-garde jazz areas, moving away from their early psychedelic sound into more and more serious musical arrangements, and he was the perfect guy for it. And he stayed with the band until the late 70s through albums like Fifth and Sixth, right, and Seven, okay, as well as their complete move into the fusion realm, right? So they went from this kind of avant-garde jazz sound into fusion. They brought in Alan Holdsworth on guitar for Bundles, right? His drumming is off the charts on this album. I mean, just a really, really great player, great timekeeper. Could do the wild things when needed, but man, he was just a rock solid addition to this band. Of course, they continued on with Softs. In 1976, the band would kind of go away for a few years and come back with Land of Cocaine, which is kind of like almost like a Soft Machine does a big band album. You know, you got all sorts of people on here. You got Alan Holdsworth, Carl Jenkins, John Marshall, Jack Bruce, Carl Whaley, Dick Morrissey, Alan Parker, John Taylor, Tony Rivers, a bunch of other people. And that would kind of be it for like Soft Machine for a while. But he did other things during this, during the 70s in addition to working with Soft Machine. So right before Soft Machine, in fact, what probably got him the gig was he worked with Ian Carr's Nucleus band. Very cool fusion band, underrated. Ian Carr, of course, a great trumpet player. I always kind of liken Ian Carr to like Great Britain's answer to Miles Davis. And John appeared on the Elastic Rock album in 1971. We'll talk about it later. Also released that same year. Solar Plexus also came out that same year. 3 albums in 1 year. And of course, he later came back to work with Ian on his old Heartland album in 1988. But other notable albums, he also appeared on Jack Bruce's 2 albums, Harmony Row, as well as Songs for a Tailor. So again, if you know these albums at all, these are fairly jazzy albums from Jack. And then, many years later, Soft Machine would get back together in various different incarnations. You had Soft Machine Legacy, right? So this is Soft Machine, but, with a twist. So you got John Etheridge on guitar, of course, who was in the latter portion of the 70s output. You got Theo Travis, tenor sax and flute, and a little bit of Electric Rhodes, Roy Babington on bass, and John Marshall on drums. And there were various releases of the Soft Machine Legacy. And then they decided at one point, we're going to go back to using the Soft Machine name, right? Because I think they had earned it at that point in time. There's lots of live albums, lots of, you got the Soft Works, okay? They were called Soft Works for a while. Soft Machine Legacy, Soft Works, all sorts of softy titles, right? There's all sorts of, I've got a ton of live stuff that features John, just hold a few of them up here. But, I mean, so many great Soft Machine live albums that feature John. Not all of these may happen, but most of them do. And then in more recent years, like I said, in his, obviously his later years, and he hasn't been in the best health of the last couple of years, but he did appear on 2018 Soft Machine Return Hidden Details. Fine album right here. Of course, now, again, Theo Travis, John Etheridge, Roy Babington, and John Marshall was the lineup for here. And then the final recorded work from John is on this album, which just came out, Other Doors. This is fairly recent. And this was, again, John Etheridge, Theo Travis. We've got Fred Thelonious Baker on bass in the band now, and John Marshall on drums on this particular album. And this would be his last album. In fact, he was not even healthy enough to tour with them because the band is on tour right now. So this was to be his last contribution to Soft Machine, and as it turns out, we lost him shortly thereafter, which is kind of sad. But like I said, a long career. Just such a rock solid drummer, man. It's just like he was always the perfect fit for this band, and the reason why his discography is so vast is because he was that guy. I mean, he did a couple albums with Eberhard Weber and his Colors band, Silent Fleet, Pop Jazz International, Little Movements, right? He did a bunch of albums with John Sermon. Okay, another great jazz artist. A couple albums of those on ECM Records. He did stuff with Barney Kessel. I mentioned the Jack Bruce albums. He recorded a little bit with Arthur Brown, Lloyd Webber, Bill Fay, Chris Spedding, Michael Gibbs, Alexis Korner, Volker Kriegel, Inside the Missing Link, which I have that right here. So he's also on this album as well. Right, very, very cool jazz album. What else? Just tons of stuff. Jasper Van Toff, right? He played with him. Wolfgang Mirbach. He played with Christopher Oding, Marshall Travis, Roy Powell, Gil Evans. Did some stuff with his old bandmate in Soft Machine, Elton Dean, Charlie Mariano, John Williams. He did some stuff with Hugh Hopper, also former Soft Machine member. So, yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And usually when you see a musician who's got a kind of a discography of who's who like that, that tells you something. Not only were they great musicians, but everybody wanted to work with them. Usually it had a lot to do with their personality and them as a human being as well. And you just got that sense from John Marshall always. So so the world is a sadder place without him, but he lived a very long life, passing away at 82, and his music, his drumming skills are out there all over the place for you to enjoy. So whether it's any of these other artists that I mentioned or some of these classic Soft Machine albums, I think it's a good time to go and revisit and listen and celebrate the musical skills of John Marshall, drummer extraordinaire from Soft Machine, and many others who passed away on the 16th of September here in 2023. So rest in peace, John. You won't be forgotten. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Thanks a lot for watching, and celebrate the life and the music of John Marshall today. And we'll see you soon here on the channel. Take care. Bye-bye.